when I felt like, okay, I'm ready for something, her picture came back to my mind. I was
Again.
like, yeah, again. And so I started binding it because I was like, the devil is a distractor. As I was pursuing, I was very intentional, and everything I did
Yeah.
were intentional. Still genuine, but intentional. You don't want to get involved emotionally too quick.
Transition was really difficult, really, really difficult. I cried many tears,
Well, welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Love, Marriage, and Family Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us even this week. And I'm not alone. I'm with, of course, Pain Delicious.
Oh, yes. Guys, thank you so much. It's good to be back. We're excited to be bringing you this amazing, amazing episode. Each week, it's always a norm. We're bringing you amazing people, amazing couples with amazing stories. And we truly believe this week is no exception. We've got an amazing couple
Yeah.
all the way from the USA, right?
Yeah.
So we're not just doing local, couples. We even take it overseas. So we're really, really excited. Mo will have the pleasure to introduce our couple.
Yeah.
But before he does that, I just want to thank you guys for the time, you dedicate to our channel. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you, for growing this platform. It's really, really a pleasure. We're excited for everything that you do for the channel.
And this week, ladies and gentlemen, on Love, Marriage, and Family Podcast, we are excited to bring you Pastor D and Lady B to us, right? To you, Pastor David and Lady Benedict.
Yeah.
Did I say it
you
properly?
got that right.
Lady Benedict.
Yes.
All right. So just a little bit of intro on them, just so you know who we're talking to. These are the Chibambes. They are devoted followers of Christ, passionate worshipers, and parents to two beautiful children with a deep sense of love for God and a commitment to excellence in all they do. They seek to glorify God through their lives, family, and service. Lady Benedict has a heart for young women, having been part of a ministry of a group of ladies for years, and carries a special passion for encouraging and uplifting people. We're going to get some uplifting today. Pastor D, on the other hand, is the lead pastor of Grace Church in Cincinnati. And that is in the US, and he's part of the John Maxwell team. His passion is to bring lasting value to people's lives and see them transformed by the renewal of the mind. Oh my. He is committed to empowering them with the truth of God's word and equipping them to grow to their maximum potential and live lives of true fulfillment and transformation. Together, Pastor D and Lady B are committed to living out their faith, building a Christ-centered home, and inspiring others to pursue God wholeheartedly. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives us a great pleasure to welcome, I nearly said on stage,
Yeah. It is the stage.
to welcome to this wonderful platform, and we know you're going to love them, Pastor D and Lady B.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
having
Welcome.
us.
Thank you for having
thank
us.
you.
Thank you
We're
so
excited.
Oh,
We're
my
excited to
word.
be here.
All right, so yeah, you
We
want to kick it off?
officially welcome you to SA.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I know you've been here for a few days.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how has that been?
Great. The weather. Oh, we come from winter, so
Oh yes.
coming here, woo, it was good, great.
Yeah.
The warm weather, just
beautiful.
yes.
I'm a big football fan, right? So every time when I watch, EPL or even Serie A, I always see the coaches in big jackets and it looks so strange because it kind of reminds me we're on the other side of the equator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
but it was kind of rainy these days, in Johannesburg, and
Yes,
we hope
that's
that
true.
you got a little bit of sun.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a
we
little
did.
bit. I think it was pretty good.
Yes. It is.
So, guys, wow, man, you guys are in South Africa. What are you doing in South Africa anyway?
Oh, we came to see, friends as well, but we came mainly because we have a couple friend that
Yeah.
invited us, for couple event.
Yeah.
Okay.
It went very well. I mean, we had the opportunity to share,
Yeah.
about marriage,
Yeah.
a little bit of a journey as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we were blessed as we were able to bless people as well.
That's so awesome. But as we always start things in the show, we always want to get back to where everything started.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet? Because you guys are from like different parts of the world.
Tell me about it. Like different continents, actually.
How did it happen, Pastor David?
Yeah.
So I think interesting. Yeah. So we have a mutual friend.
Yeah.
And I think she had posted something on her WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And she would usually, post few things. I mean, she's a very good friend. I'd been single for a very long time, so she would tell me like, "Hey, you know what? I got people." I was like, "Man, you know what? I don't have time for that," because I was pretty much involved into what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I think one day she posted just a series of pictures, and then I was looking at the picture, and then I saw a picture, and then I was like, "Huh." And then I just passed. And so for a couple of days, I ignored. For me, it was just like, okay, you know what? Another pretty face. I've seen so many other pretty faces.
Yeah.
But few days later, that pretty face came back to mind. I was like, okay. And so I ignored it again. And until I reached out, I'm like, hey, tell me about this one person. Who is she? And, what's going on with her? And kind of give me your 411 and just information. She, finally, told me that, no, this is a good friend of mine, younger sister to my best friend and whatnot. And anything, I'm like, no, it's good. I just wanted to know.
You wanted to pray for her.
And yeah.
You were feeling led to
know,
pray.
Right?
And so long story short, at that period of time, I just kind of left it alone. And I was taking, usually every beginning of the year, I would take a month out from the church, just kind of rest and renew myself. And so that time I took one to Israel, and, just a lot of things were going on, and I just wanted to clear my head. Yeah. So I spent almost a month in Israel, and so everything was good, but it was just the last week. The last week where, as I was praying, I just kind of had a breakdown. I was looking at my life. I was doing a review. I'm like, okay, God, this is a new year, and I'm heading back home, and God started dealing with me. Yeah. And so started just dealing with some internal stuff, and I had a really wonderful experience. But then again, I think around afterwards, when I felt like, okay, I'm ready for something, her picture came back to my mind.
Again?
Again. And so I started binding it, because I was like, the devil is a distractor. And I'm like, man, I don't think about ladies like this. It was just a discipline for me being a single pastor. So I didn't want to, but I kept thinking about her and why not. So, I finally just reached out to
a friend.
Yeah. And so I didn't tell the friend anything at all anymore. She thought that it was dead.
Oh, okay.
I just went and reached out to her on Facebook and for a friend request. She accepted, and I told her, thank you for adding me as a friend. And then I didn't speak to her.
You were one of those creepy people.
Yeah.
You remember?
But see, I didn't crip though. I did it,
Thank you
but
for the
without
ad.
her
Thank
knowing.
you for the ad, and then that's it.
I said thank you for the ad, and then I didn't speak to her for another 4 or
Funny
5
guy.
months.
Yeah.
Didn't say a word,
Whoa.
but was on her page every single day.
Pastor David, come on.
Kind of checking
And
things
God is
out.
waiting for you to follow up.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, how do I go? I didn't want to just start something. I'm a pastor. I don't want to be in anybody's DM.
Yeah.
And so, but, and then an opportunity presented itself. I felt like I needed to reach out. And
Yeah.
That's how I
yeah,
started.
so that's where it started. So I reached out,
man.
and, I'd already done my, my research and Googled her.
Couple of
Oh, yeah.
months, definitely.
See, when I was quiet, I was just digging.
4 weeks is enough. eh?
Yeah, I think it's enough. It's interesting though, because I kind of want to dig in a little bit on that part, short may as it may. Well, I'm not sure if it's short. Just to dig in on the part about a single pastor.
Yes, sir.
there are a lot of our viewers who are pastors. Some of them married, some of them are not married, and they do encounter a lot of challenges, obviously in that department, the romantic department.
Yes, sir.
You know, and some, you know, hold kind of different views. You know, others are waiting on the Lord, others, you know, have been through stuff and they're like, you know what, I'm good. You know, I'm gonna focus on serving the Lord and so on. And how would you advise a single pastor who is in that crossroad, who wants to get married but is not sure, you know, because I'm very much focused on doing the work of the Lord. Would that be a distraction, or how will that help me, and all of that? Just to help those pastors, especially the single pastors.
So I think for single pastors, one of the first thing for me, I would think that is very important is to determine the reason why you're single that long.
Oh wow.
And because each people, even for me, for example, when I was asked why I was single, I said I was single by choice.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was single by choice, but that choice was the byproduct of a failed relationship.
Yeah.
You know, prior to that. And so, although I'd invested in myself and I'd remained single for a very long time, I mean,
How long is a long time?
13 years.
Oh wow. Okay, that's long.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, for
No
13
going
I
on a
did-
date,
no
lunch,
date.
dinner.
No, I mean I had, but everything was done in a group. I did not have. I
okay.
didn't do any one-on-one for 13 years.
Oh wow.
No one-on-one. It was a little bit also just to kind of also just protect myself and stuff like that. So I didn't want to either be seen with someone just on. I'd rather just be with people and just study them.
Yeah.
In a group setting more than an individual setting.
Important. That's actually a very important lesson on dating.
Yes, sir.
You know, to actually see the potential person in a group setting.
Yes, sir.
You know, and see how they manage themselves in that
manage
environment
in that
and all of that. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, because I think that it's important. Because the thing is that sometimes if we're not careful, we are, you know, you don't want to get involved emotionally too quick.
Yeah.
You know, and not having done, you know, your due diligence. And because as a pastor or a man of God, I even tell just everybody, you know, whoever you're dating at the time, you want to make sure that if it doesn't lead to marriage, it was at least a beneficial, you know, spiritual experience. But unfortunately, a lot of us, it's not, because however you have to learn to treat the person, him or her, the way, you know, you would want somebody else to treat your spouse.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of us, it's usually not evident because, you know, you have people that would sometime come, and I think it makes it difficult. Sometime will come for the wrong reasons. And so if I'm not able to manage that, you know, properly, understanding that they're not just someone that likes you, but it's also a soul and it's a believer. So you have to treat them with respect and stuff like that. So the group setting is usually just a safe, you know, environment where, you know, you for me, I made sure that I don't say anything to a person, or even on social media or any place, that I wouldn't allow anybody else to know about or read or stuff like that. So that was a safeguard for me as well.
Oh wow.
Wow. So after 13 years, obviously, you mentioned you were going through a difficult time in the 13 years.
Yes.
Was it part of the plan that it will be 13 years, that you will obviously, you know, wait until the new person, or it just happened? Because I like the fact that you took time, because what a lot of people don't do, they don't heal from a previous, you know, breakup.
Break up, yeah.
You know, immediately people just jump into the next relationship, and before you know it, someone is bleeding into the new relationship.
Yeah.
Was it intentional on your end, or you just found yourself?
For me, it was a little bit of both. A little bit of both, because initially I wanted to take. So, to be frank, initially I was just hurt, and so I didn't want anything to do with, you know, someone else.
Yeah.
And because I felt like I didn't trust. You know, for me, I didn't trust women after that experience. But then again, after getting healed, so I made an effort knowing that, since I cannot change anybody, I'll make sure I become the best person that I could ever be. I'll become a blessing for whoever will be with me. And so I
Yeah.
started working on myself. But
That's
at the
good.
same time, also, as I was working on myself, I I'd gotten extremely busy, and so
Yeah.
the time started just expanding. Obviously, there were people that I saw and I was interested in
Yeah.
that I would look at into a still a group setting, but it's something that I will, once I see something that I'm not interested in, or I'm suspicious, or I would eliminate it very fast.
Immediately.
So for me, I didn't want to get involved emotionally, too quick and too deep. So I'll just cancel it. So it was both in, part of still being hurt,
Yeah.
and then also part of just being cautious in not wanting to get someone at a certain point where I feel like, I I could just bail out too quick when they've started being attached and
Yeah.
stuff. So and then time just passed, and then
Yeah.
finally, the being a pastor also didn't really help for me, because I would not only as a pastor but also from training and stuff like that, on counseling and dealing with married people
Yeah.
on a professional side and whatnot, as you get the training. I'll find out things about people that I'll like. I don't have time to deal with this.
Let me add another year.
I don't have time to deal
Let
with
me
this.
extend this.
Yeah.
But then, Lady B, you get this DM. First of all, he sends a friend request,
Facebook, actually.
and then you wait for 4 weeks. And
Well, actually,
fi-
4 months. It
4
was
months.
months.
Oh, my word, even
about
worse.
No, it
about
was
3
weeks. It
months.
was
yeah.
months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's work
yeah.
months. Yeah.
Pastor David, I'm giving you the look right now. Like, seriously now.
How can
I
you
think
keep a
it was-
lady
You can't keep a
waiting?
lady hanging
Yeah.
for that long.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking 4 weeks.
At
Yeah.
least.
No, it was months.
It was months.
But the thing is, the funny thing, I wasn't really waiting. I
Yeah.
saw the Facebook request. The mutual friend
Yeah.
friend told me about him. So I went to check him on Instagram, and I was like, no way. So when I saw the Facebook request, I was like, he's a pastor, respect, hey, he's friend to, someone that I
I'm
know.
safe.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, she's the friend to my big sister.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, let me just, accept. It's just Facebook. Anyways,
Yeah.
we have thousands of friends on Facebook. We're not really friends. We just add ourselves, Some of them, we don't even talk. So when he added me, yes, of course, in my head, I was like, hey, I thought this guy would just,
Yeah.
ask more, questions. Hey, hello. It was just like, thank you. And then, okay. Then I was like, you know what? I'm living my life.
Yeah.
My head was not even there, I was at that point, I think I was seeing one person at that point,
Yeah.
chatting with someone else,
Yeah.
or even two people,
Is
probably,
it?
yeah.
So how
my
did
head,
it begin then for the two of you?
yes, so something happened in my life, very something very sad, of course. My dad died. Yeah, and we wanted to go bury him, and so I posted something on Facebook, saying, "Hey, my dad is dead" and everything, and he saw that, and he reached out to me, and
pastor.
yes, but no, I love that he
That's
didn't
so
reach out
cool.
as a pastor.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
There was nothing, I would say, godly
Yeah.
in his message. It was just like a guy saying, hey, you know what? I've never lost my dad or my mom, so I don't know how you feel. I don't know what you're going through, but just to let you know that, hey, if you need a friend to talk to, I'm here. So I liked it. There was
Yeah.
no, be strong and all
I'm
of
praying
that
for you.
that you hear throughout,
Yeah.
your morning
Yeah.
phase, So I was like, hey, interesting.
This
So
is fresh.
Yes.
Different.
So I kind of picked him to be that person I would speak to during my traveling, because we were in Belgium and we had to go bury my dad back in the Congo, Republic Democratic of Congo, Goma, actually. And which is actually right now, this part of the country is in war right now. Yeah, I don't know if you heard about it. Yeah, so we had to go bury him there. So I was like, hey, I picked him. I'll text him. chat with him because actually with the jet lag, you know, I could speak to him anytime.
Oh, wow.
When it's 2 a.m. here,
Yeah.
hey, it's still maybe daylight there.
Okay.
You know? So it was a perfect candidate, you know,
Yeah.
to just chat with, you know, about nothing and everything as
Yeah.
well, you know. So that's how we started talking.
And little did you know that all of that, hey, you know, if you want to chat and whatever, he's been studying you for a long time.
No, I had no idea. I knew he liked my picture.
Like he has an
Yeah.
opportunity right here.
Yeah, I knew he liked my picture.
Yeah.
I knew he was single for a long time.
Yeah.
I heard that too. So I probably knew that this guy is serious, but for myself, I was like, this is just a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to marry a pastor. No
Yeah.
way. Not, he's in the US. You
Yeah.
know, I know. No, it was a no for me.
Yeah.
And so basically, we just started talking. And something that we didn't even had the opportunity to speak about is the age difference between us.
Yeah.
So it was, seeing he's a pastor, age difference, he's in the US.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many,
So many things
yeah.
that we're against.
So many things that was just not matching, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with what we wanted, I think, at that point. But then the conversation was just so good. We were just so friends, you know.
Yeah.
We could laugh and speak about anything. You know, it was just genuine, natural, you know. And I would tell God in my head, I was like, God, I know you want to trap me. Because this guy,
Why is
It's
he
just-
so nice?
he's just cool.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
cool friend that happens to be a pastor.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he went. And then, but I was also aware of the fact that, hey, I'm mourning.
Yeah.
So I'm probably vulnerable.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just don't want to jump into anything. But then it was still good. You know, I'll catch myself talking with the other guy and telling him,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? I'm laughing. I was just joking. I'm like, I'm getting married soon. You know, we just,
Yeah.
because I felt like this guy is serious. David just knew what he wanted.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Though we were having a conversation, it was not just about marriage or anything. Like,
Yeah.
the first conversation, I would say the first month, it was just, you know, friendship, getting to know each other. What do you like? What is your favorite color? You know, random stuff. Hey,
yeah.
I like this. I'm doing that. You know, how is work? You know, how is school and stuff, you know? At that time, I was finishing my bachelor degree.
Yeah.
You know? So we would just discuss about anything. And then that's how I
And
probably
then who
got
broke the ice? I mean, who mentioned the relationship or starting something
first. Obviously, I think David.
Obviously.
But you know the funny thing? I said I love you first.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
did. You see,
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, yeah.
It's not that obvious.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lady who's watching us right now, right? Who's saying, you know, I will never date a pastor or be married to a pastor and so on.
Yeah.
Can you break that stereotype? You know,
Because here you are, babe. You're looking
because
good.
here
I
you
know,
are.
right?
You know,
First of all, I want to tell her that I understand her because I understand her, but also you're not marrying the pastor. You are marrying the person.
Oh,
A
yes.
person, you know. Just focus on the person, you know. Obviously, being a pastor, the vocation comes with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But trust me, if this is what God wants for you, or I had planned for you, He will give you the strength to carry
Yeah.
the burden of the vocation
Yeah.
and that comes with it. You know, ministry is not easy. Obviously, I think the first thing when we say I don't want a pastor, because we heard that, hey, first ladies, they put them in a box. It's difficult. A lot of judgment, a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
You know, that's true. I won't lie to you, but let it not discourage you. And you know, it's for me. It's not today. I would say it's not enough for you to just disregard or not allow the pastor to have a relationship with you or even marry you or marry the
Yeah.
pastor. You know, don't let that rob you of your destiny.
Yeah, and also, man, I think sometimes God has other plans for us. Sometimes we think the
Yes.
plans that we have for ourselves are aligned to God's plan for our
Plan,
lives.
exactly.
And it could be that, I mean, it's exactly what God wanted for you.
Yes,
But
exactly.
obviously, you were not aware that that's what God really
Yeah.
had planned for your life.
In my head, like I love the Lord.
Yeah.
I wanted to, do ministry, but I never thought in my head.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, since I see myself, doing something for the Lord, but I'm sure my husband would be in the secular
Yeah.
world. It would be, it had, maybe a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It would be out there, and I'll be the one, serving the Lord and probably having a 9 to 5 as well,
Yeah.
but not seeing myself with the pastor being a first lady,
Yeah.
not at all.
Oh,
Not
wow.
at all, yeah. So when that twist came, I could see it coming. I was telling the Lord, you want to trap me.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. It's not
I'm
going to
not
work.
ready for this.
I know. I'm not ready. I do not want it.
Yeah.
In my head, I was thinking, criticism and all that.
Yeah.
I will lose my life.
Yeah.
My life will become public. Oh my God. And I'm an introvert and I'm scared of people.
Yeah.
I'm scared of, crowds.
Groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, I'm scared of crowd, but I was a choir member. I don't know why.
See, everything
Yeah.
was going to you being a pastor.
I
as
know,
well.
right? I remember one day my pastor called me and he was like, I see you do ministry, but you're scared of people and you need to work on that fast. I didn't understand at that point, at first.
Now it makes sense.
Now I always think about that. I was like, yeah, he told me to get ready. And the funny thing, when we got married, the first weeks when I was introduced to the church and we had to go on Sundays, I would literally speak to myself on the mirror. You'll be fine. After greeting all of these people, I will literally pass out in the car, tired. Because the introvert in me was like, no more battery. Social battery
Yeah.
down.
But you know what? God always makes a way.
Yeah.
It does.
And He always provides.
It
you know?
does. With the calling, it brings the equipment. I mean, it equips you, to actually be able to, go above those things, and really even at some point changing you a little bit. Or I would not say changing you, but showing you that you have it in you.
Yeah.
It's there.
Discovering you in God.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I can do this through Christ, actually.
Yeah.
I'm capable of doing this. I'm capable of being in Christ. I'm capable, of taking the criticism. It's just criticism.
Yeah.
Anyways, they don't define me. I define myself. I think the biggest thing for me is God teaching me to define me through Him.
Yes, that's
And
good.
Not where I come from, not where I grew up, not from the background or anything. No, really finding the definition of Benedict in God
Through Christ.
through
yeah.
Christ. Yeah,
And Pastor D, obviously, I mean, you had a lot of women that were close, but you make contact with this one who's in the other parts of the world.
tell me.
Which obviously mean for this to work, eventually she needs to come to the US. Otherwise, long distance, I cannot see it working.
Yeah.
So when does a conversation now begin in terms of, okay, obviously she said the big word first, that, she loves you. When do you start talking about, okay, now we need to talk about lives together?
Logistics.
Logistics. How do we make this work?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think at that point, I was, for me, even one of the reasons why it took too long was to
Yeah.
make sure that this is what I wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
And so, I think I mentioned it somewhere, I'm somewhat a profiler. So for me, it was easier to, whenever I didn't speak to her, I would go and study her from all of her posts, just from a background where you say you hear their words, you feel their soul. So whatever people say or whatever they post has something, even when it's not our story, but there is something related, something about you that connect to that thing. And so those were the things that I would study. And one thing, I even went and got one of her interview that she did. She doesn't even remember. She was modeling at the time. I think she was 19 or so.
Yeah.
And she had done an interview, and the interview was on the internet somewhere.
Yeah, you
And
found
I
it.
found it. And so I found it, I read it, I reread it, I read it. I'm like, okay, I like the way she responded. And so it kind of gave me a little bit of insight. So as I was pursuing, I was very intentional, and everything I did
Yeah.
were intentional. Still genuine, but intentional. That's where the genuineness and just the natural side came, but very intentional. So I didn't say things for the sake of saying them. I didn't
Yeah.
do anything. And it's not like I planned, but I wanted to make sure that if I am to pursue this, I see a certain level of interest.
Yeah.
And I think that by God's guidance and then just by intentionality, when she said I love you, I'm like, I've been loving you, so let's go.
Let's go for this.
Let's go for this. And so
Yeah.
then we started introducing, and I was really clear. As she said, we had a lot of a lot of barriers that we needed to cross, family wise and
Oh,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember, one time it was her mom wanted to talk to me. She wanted to talk to me on the phone. She's like, I don't want this, so give me his number. I want to tell him that, I don't want him for my daughter. And so I told the friend that connected, I said, don't give her my number. Just tell her that if she wants to talk to me, I would love to talk to her in person. And she said, okay. I said, give me a day. And she gave me a day. I think it was a Monday. I'm like, I'm coming on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I booked a flight, and I was in Europe, and I wanted to talk to her face to face.
So you met the mom face to face.
Face to face, yeah.
And what was her reaction?
He was good at the time. I think, at least for me, I don't know what happened
my mom.
afterwards.
Yeah.
It
But
was just
it was
the two
decent.
of you.
No.
You and the mom.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes,
it was
I
just
wasn't there.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it was
wow.
just me and her, and so I was like, I value you and value your daughter, so I didn't want to talk over the phone to show you that I was serious. I wanted to come,
Oh, wow.
in person and have this conversation, in person, and so we had that, and so we started going through, and I told her that my intention and my goal is to marry you.
Yeah.
And so we started going through that. So we dated,
Yeah.
if I might say, or we courted.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, quoted.
For 6 months, and then 6 months later, I proposed.
Yeah. So you dated
Yeah,
for how long before you proposed?
for 6 months.
And then you got married after?
It was short. Yeah. So we
With COVID.
with COVID. So we
Yeah.
So 6 months around November.
Okay.
I proposed, took her away in Portugal,
Yeah.
and I proposed there. And after speaking,
You had
to-
already gotten the mom's blessing at this point.
actually not yes and
Yes
no.
and no. Like she was okay.
She was
Okay.
okay with
but
us dating,
she was still worried.
and she
Yeah.
was worried.
Yeah, my
So-
mom is a big subject. She didn't want the relationship
Yeah.
at first.
So I
But you
spoke
went
to
to
her
Portugal
older
after-
brother and older. So I'd spoken to the older brother and the older sister,
Yeah.
and they were
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I asked for a hand, and
Yeah, my
so I
older
was
brother
like-
who represent the
the
father
the
figure
father
at
figure
that point,
to-
you know.
so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
the-
because you had lost your dad.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he knew. I spoke to him and told him, and the older sister as well. I'd already told them, because what happened was I was having a conference in the Congo, and so I came. We met in Belgium, and I left her with the ring and everything. She didn't know it was her ring, and so I went for my conference, and I came back. We went for a couple of days, just a trip, and there I proposed.
Yeah. And in terms of, I mean, you guys, you are coming originally from the same country.
Yes.
Right? Even though it's different cultures.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right? And I would like for us, to kind of zoom into that, because obviously moms, in I guess all over Africa, her mom, gave me a little bit of a hard time.
My mom is actually the one who made it Easy for you.
Yeah, where you are concerned, but for
Yeah.
me, but my point I get it. I'm wanting to get it is that on the cultural differences, already even though you are coming from the Congo, you had moved to the US a lot earlier.
Yes, sir.
Right. And you are well established that side in terms of the church, in terms of everything. Your life is over there.
Pretty much.
And then, however, Lady B is in Belgium.
Yes, sir.
Right. And your life is kind of established, everything over there.
Yeah.
How do you bring those worlds together? To cross those barriers, especially the cultural barriers, because even though you are from the Congo originally, you had acclimatized to a whole new, culture, the US and so on, even yourself, in Belgium and so on. But there's got to be, certain barriers, that would have existed.
I think mentally for me was because, like you said, it was really a big deal.
Yeah.
Because mentally for me, prior to her, my thing was that I would marry someone that has, not necessarily is from America,
Yeah.
but that has the American culture because, I needed that for balance. And because, I although, we, like you said, we're from the Congo, and to a certain degree, it's like I realized that I was not that much Congolese culturally when I went to the Congo.
Or was it one of those?
Yeah.
One of those, in America, you're Congolese until you get to the Congo, you're American.
Yeah.
And so it was that of a challenge. I said, to make just things easy, the way I view things, you have to have a certain, basic knowledge of the American culture. And so when we met, I was like, okay, you know what? She doesn't have much of the American culture, but one of the things, she spoke English, but she also had the European, culture, which was not totally African. So I thought at the time that we would probably see things differently.
Yeah.
We'll probably have some common ground.
Yeah.
And I think so. It was a challenge and a blessing in terms, because when we got together, the culture crashed.
Yeah.
And they were clashing
Can imagine.
of culture and stuff like that. But I think she probably can speak for herself as to where we started finding ways to adjust and stuff like that. At the beginning it was quite challenging. Sometimes we'll get into an argument, or a heated exchange, and then about intense fellowship.
Right.
and about something.
Yeah.
And then she would say something probably in French, because I do understand French, but I will perceive it in a different way.
Gotcha.
And
Gosh, I
that
can
will tick
imagine
me
that,
off, whereas
Oh
to
my God.
this is what you said.
Yeah.
And then she will be like, no, that's not what you say. If you're from the village, it doesn't mean what you're saying. And then I'm like, okay, you're going to call me, a villager in French.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to pull something,
In what?
in
In
English,
American.
in American. And so I will use also a word that if you have not lived in America, you would
You're
think
like,
that
what
you
is
would be
that?
offended.
Yeah.
And then so we will get into that. So what would you say? That I'm like, and then I will pull in the dictionary just so I could prove to you that what I said is
Means
not what you
this.
think.
Yeah.
It means what I wanted it to express. And so it would be, it was
Yeah.
quite interesting. But I think that to a certain degree, we learned to find balance, and because we almost had the same
Yeah.
the same common genesis, in terms of
Yeah.
like, I grew up always feeling how can I put it, there's a word, as a misfit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And she also grew up as feeling as a misfit,
So you had something in common there.
we had something in common,
Yeah.
and I think that God wanted to prepare us, because that was also just basically part of big struggle from someone that came from a Congo that he didn't know that much. Because while you're in the Congo, it's like you're exposed to American and European culture, but in the Congo. And so now you leave the Congo as an Congolese or African now in America, whereas you're referred to as an African. And then, for African Americans, I'm African, and for the whites, I'm black. And for the Congolese, I'm a sellout. I'm almost American. So sometimes you feel like
You don't belong.
I don't belong anywhere until you come to understand, I might not be one specific thing. I'm all of that.
That's so
And
good.
it's a wealth because I can navigate
Yeah.
in all of the cultures that I've been exposed to very comfortably with something that I could share. And I think that's why we started sharing and started learning, loving some of the things that she was really pro-African. I wasn't. And so we started learning a lot of things, and I started watching some of the things that she liked, and also she started watching some of the things that I liked, and I think we're able. I still building on it, but I feel like we had gotten our groove, and we started dancing to the same music.
I love that. I love that. And Lady B, the transition for you, because it's different. I mean, you are moving into his world, a world that he's already, used to, but it's new for you. So how was that transition? I mean,
it was really huge for me. First of all, because he has all his family over there, and I was coming there alone. Literally, I didn't know no one in Cincinnati. There was one of my sister's friend, but we're not really close like that. So I was really alone. So coming into their culture, their life, their environment, and leaving everything behind me. At that time, it was COVID as well, so it was a bit, let's say, aggressive. It was not the goodbye that I thought it would be. So I got there. Transition was really difficult. Really, really difficult. I cried many tears, so I can adjust, I worked a lot. Had to learn, how they do their thing.
How was your English though?
My English was good. Just as it is right now, I think,
No, now it's good. You've been around him enough.
Yes, I know, right? I had learned English prior to that, so the language was not really a barrier at first.
It was just culture.
Yes, it wasn't really a barrier, so it was more cultural learning. How do we live in the US, Because I remember coming to the US 2015 on vacation with my sister. I was like, I can't live here. Everything is too big. Everything is, I didn't like the US. So getting there, now living there, I had to, first of all, accept in my mind, I think we mentioned that I had to separate from Belgium.
Sure.
On my mind first. You had to start there, and it took time.
Sure. I can imagine
It took
that.
years, for me to even stop in my language, even stop talking about it. Sometimes with church, I would say where I come from. In my church, it was like, and then I had to stop.
You are here now.
Yes, yes. This is now. I say the US is home for me, but it took time for me to get there. Honestly, it took a long time, and I just came to a point that if I want to make this marriage work, I really need to dissociate myself from my, previous
Trust.
place where when I used to live. My family will always be my family. My mother will always be my mother. Belgium will always be home for me. But this is where God wants me to be. So I need to adjust. So I started doing the work. I started loving, not forcing myself, but encouraging myself at least, to love where I am, to accept where I am, with their faults, to love, where I am and the people I'm around with that, the characteristics, with everything that they are, actually. And also I came with expectations in my head, and I had to drop them. I expected the family to be here like this, the church to be like that, the US to be like that, and I had to drop all of that, and be realistic as well. you know.
Yeah.
Be realistic, and that's that. It was big.
Wow.
Drawing towards a close, right? I want to touch on, the single pastor thread. Now you are in the US, Lady B, and Pastor D, you're about to introduce a new lady.
When are you read my mind?
You're about to introduce a new lady
Like-
in the church.
The singles at the
There's
church.
all these ladies here, like, really? Are you going to bring somebody here? We are all here. How was that?
It was tough. It was interesting. I think for the most part, I'd already made my mind that I was not going to marry the people that I was pastoring. Because
Oh, man, can you talk about that? What's wrong with that?
I think that usually whenever people, because there's two things for me.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's this admiration as the pastor, the man of God.
Yeah.
And so I think that people get to know you as the pastor. They think that you are the guy that's on the pulpit,
Yeah.
that's very eloquent, that's very teaching and stuff like that. But they don't get to know the person behind the pastor. And I think that was one of the easiest things for me with her, because even with her, I didn't want her to know me as a pastor. I just wanted her to know me as David. And so sometimes it is very difficult for the people that you're pastoring to see you as David. In other words, to say, give me the respect that I'm due, but at the same time, just realize that I'm just a guy, and I could get very boring. On the surface, I'm not always the guy that stands there and preach and move philosophical and lead you in the spirit.
Yeah.
But I could do that on a very big platform.
Yeah.
And then we sit down. I'll be quiet for 3 hours and I don't have a problem with you.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what to say.
Man, that's
And even when we got married, at first she thought that I was into witchcraft or voodoo or something.
Guy,
Come on.
what are you doing? I'm praying. What? In the dark, 5 a.m.
Come on.
Because I had that routine at 5,
Yeah.
I'm out of the bed. No matter where I am,
Yeah.
no matter what's going on,
Yeah.
even if I have a beautiful lady next to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, when I was married, at least,
Yeah.
not prior, no beautiful lady prior to marriage.
No, we know you're referring to this one.
Yeah.
And so, at 5 a.m. in the morning, that's my time. I get situated by being alone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I'll go downstairs to the basement.
Yeah.
And so I don't pray loud unless I'm leading prayer, fire prayer. But personally, it's quiet time. I
Yeah.
could sit there for hours and not say a word and just meditate and stuff like that.
No
and so,
wonder she thought you were doing something
yes,
in the
ma'am.
basement.
And so she will be in the basement. It's dark and it's 5 a.m. in the morning, and I'm just sitting there. And she's like, "What is this guy doing?" And I'm like,
And he will close the door.
and I'll close the door because I don't want any distraction.
I will
Yeah.
go try to open the door.
And then so
I'll catch him today,
and then she's not a loud prayer, but she
I pray
prays.
loud.
She's louder than you.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
louder than me.
Yeah.
And I'm a quiet prayer unless I'm leading the masses.
you are
but
forced to.
but personally, I usually, and we even in our marriage, we had a hard time, balancing praying together.
Yeah.
Because I'll be too quiet for her, which is boring.
Yeah.
And she'll be too loud for me, which
Yeah.
is
Disturbing.
disturbing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? You know God doesn't have hearing problems. He even
My
hears,
ear is not deaf that he will not hear.
he even hears our thoughts.
You know?
So you could just be thinking,
God
and
is
he will
good.
answer your thoughts. You know? And so balancing that was quite so having someone that would know me for just the awkwardness that was not the most, and so it was that which was a little bit difficult for me.
Yeah.
And so and also I had people that admired me a little bit too much. So
Yeah.
the thing was that I'm a very private person that happens to live a very public life.
Yeah.
And so I felt like people didn't get to know that side of me. And so also the word was that, I don't want you to see me one way at home, and when I'm not performing on stage, and then to see me different, when I'm on stage. And so that was one of the things that I didn't want to happen. I just wanted someone that will know me and that didn't even know that I was known,
Yeah.
and that didn't even know what type of platform that I had, because sometimes I felt like people just loved me because of the platform, because by the grace of God I was able to be on some very important platforms. And for me that was not attractive. I just wanted just a regular person walking, flip-flops, shorts, just the regular stuff.
Yeah.
And so when I brought her in, it was very difficult for a lot of people, because here I am, a very kind and hearted person and pastor, because I'm all about the people.
Yeah.
Even if I love people, I love God, and so sometimes people felt like the love that I was showing to them was sometimes interpreted into interest.
Yeah.
Just to come to understand that it's just the shepherd, the father's love for you. And so when I brought her, unfortunately, there was a lot of heartbreak, and a lot of people left the church to
Oh, you broke some
to
hearts.
to a degree that even there were some people that were sick and passed away. I think that was very hard for her, where I was just forbidden not to come to the funerals and stuff like that.
Oh man.
But I think it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And so for her, she couldn't understand. I mean, how? I'm like, it's
I
okay.
really wanted to go, but
I said, yeah.
And we
She's
weren't
like,
allowed-
not only
allowed.
could she go, I'm like, you cannot go to this one.
and I
Yeah.
can't.
And
You too,
and I say, but why shouldn't I? Am I that bad? I'm like, don't worry about it, because even myself, I cannot go.
Yeah.
Would-
The family just say
Yeah.
that I wouldn't go. I think the lady had, thought that I was the one from God had spoken to her, and so
But God only spoke to her.
yeah, and that's the thing, unfortunately. So
Oh, that's sad.
yeah.
So fast forward, we are here now.
Yes.
2025.
yeah,
Wow.
2 kids later.
Yes.
You guys have got a 4-month-old.
Yes.
Like,
Baby, I know,
really?
right?
yeah. Actually, he turned 5 months.
Yeah, a few
last
days
A
ago.
few days ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the journey. I know obviously it wasn't like smooth sailing,
Yeah.
But looking back now, what would you say are some of the lessons really? Someone who could be in your shoes right now, a few years ago, what would you say to them? You're wanting to meet, a person, or the one, what advice can you give to someone who's looking, single lady in church, or Christian, born again, looking for a partner? What lessons have you taken in these years now up to now?
It's a very good question. To a lady being in church, a young lady serving or not, and really praying and keeping herself and hoping to be with a guy that loves the Lord and that's serious about God as well. I would tell her to work on herself first of all. Really make sure you are rooted in God. Find you. Find your identity, because something that happened in the transition that we talked about is that I found myself being in really shaky ground that was shaking my identity. I didn't know who I was at some point.
Oh, wow.
I doubted myself. I doubted my calling. I doubted everything because it was difficult transitioning, So you you will see this young lady loving the Lord, knows that she wants to work for the Lord. I have words, prophecies and stuff, but then I get to a shaky ground where actually I found out that I didn't know myself. I found out that, hey, I didn't really trust in God. Yeah, I found out that, hey, a lot of things started coming out through the process of transition, you know. So I would tell her to really work on that.
Yeah.
Really make sure. Don't be in a hurry. I know with Instagram today, our heart just goes boom. We see wedding every weekend and we're like, God, when is my turn, you know?
Yeah.
It's normal as human who feel like that. But then after that, just come back to yourself.
Yeah.
Sit down there and, I'm sure that God has someone for you.
Yeah.
But one thing I really want you to work on is yourself. Make sure you know who you are. So when you meet that person, it will just click. You just don't know, hey, we can do, we can have a purpose, together.
Common purpose.
Purpose together. Or either you have your purpose, I have my purpose, but it matches.
Yeah.
We complement
merge.
each other.
Right.
Yes, we complement each other. Yeah. It will really help you to not make a lot of mistakes,
Yeah.
and to go into a lot of relationship like, hey, let me try this. Oh, no. Let me try this. Oh, no. No. When you know, at least, I won't say that you will not make mistakes, but maybe it will be less.
Yes.
Yes.
You'll make less mistakes.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's a very good point to live in.
Yeah, I think, closing shots from you, Pastor D, as we are about to close.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think that, one thing that I want to say, marriage is not a destination. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that one of my favorite writers said something and said marriage is like the omelet. It's only as good as the eggs that you use to cook them. And so working on yourself
said.
is very important. And also, working on expectation. I think that a lot of us come with false expectation, unrealistic expectation, but also being able just to navigate and just be able to ride the wave, however it comes, and being more committed to God. And one of the things that helped me the most in my marriage, helping people. So I knew a lot of things theoretically, and also by the letter, because this is what I shared with people. So I had to put the emotional side together and learn it, and also just understand that whether it's submission, whether it's love, whether it's building that team, is making sure that I'm doing it in obedience and in submission to the Lord.
Yeah.
More importantly than just to the person that I'm involved with. And I think that as the both of us are concentrated on God, so you're here, I'm here, and our goal is God. The more we get closer to God, the closer we get to one another. And things become good.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much, Pastor D, Lady B. Thank you so much. We feel like so enriched,
Yes.
with conversations like these. The whole point, we never want to be involved with conversations that are futile, that don't build or that leave people feeling worse off.
Yeah.
And I really believe that after this conversation, a lot of people, will be helped. Whether it be a single pastor, whether it be people that are coming together from different cultures, and even how to introduce, the lady for that single pastor, into the congregation, And it is such a wonderful diamond. We really hope that you have gleaned. We hope that you have learned. We hope that you are able to interact with this conversation. And thank you so much for your comments that you leave. And thank you for the subscriptions as well. And we want to thank you.
Until next time. Well done, Pastor D, for winning the mother-in-law over.
Yeah,
So you definitely did a great job.
now when she has a problem with her, it's to me that she comes and accuses her. Your
now.
wife there,
good friends.
she's getting, on my last ones.
Yeah.
But we're thankful.
That is so good.
She's like, my son-in-law this, my son-in-law that.
And you're like, you.
Mommy.
Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for watching. We'll We'll see you again next time. Much love.
God
Thank you.
bless.
Thank you.
God bless you.